Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now April 27th of 2024, and we're just a short number of months away from the official release of Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm very much sure that a lot of you have already seen the trailer that released just a couple of days ago by Marvel Studios. There's been a lot going on with this production as reshoots are set to begin in just 2 days from now, lasting until the last few days of May, quite possibly spilling into the early days of June, just before that late July release date window that Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, director Shawn Levy are really anticipating right now. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So, we all know that Wolverine is the main selling point of Deadpool 3, right? We know that Shawn Levy talked about this, that he considers this the main driving force for the fans to go ahead and check out this film. Now, when you look at everything related to it in that sense, we know that Ryan Reynolds, Shawn Levy, Rhett Reese, and Paul Wernick, the creators of this film, have been battling against Disney for multiple months now, on and off, really trying their best to diminish whatever DEI elements that Kevin Feige and Bob Iger were trying to shoehorn into the third act reshoots and also into the promotion of Deadpool 3. Now, what's interesting about all of this has a lot to do with how this really involves Henry Cavill in the process in the wake of She-Hulk actress Tatiana Maslany getting axed when her cameos got cancelled from the third act. Let's get into all of this, shall we? Now, specifically, what's even all the more revealing about Deadpool and Wolverine is that, yes, we know it's gonna be a film full of cameos, alright? This is just a thing that Ryan Reynolds briefly talked about weeks ago, that it is going to be a cameo-driven film that's going to surprise a lot of fans because of how meaningful these cameos are really going to be. But what's interesting is that, of course, with Bob Iger's cost containment plan still wreaking havoc at every Disney division right now behind the scenes, one major development has much to do with actor Henry Cavill, who recently took action against those connected to the Walt Disney Company and Marvel Studios as the push for Cavill's cameo for Deadpool 3 continues, thanks to Ryan Reynolds. As it turns out, in a recent update to this drama, both Reynolds and Cavill are moving forward with their negotiation with Disney to bring him in as a major cameo in the new Deadpool film. Now, the plan by both Kevin Feige and Bob Iger was to have Cavill's character fight against Cassandra Nova and to die by her hands in one of the universes within the third act of the film. This was Feige's plan to essentially provide Cassandra Nova some form of female empowerment in the third act, just for the sake of doing so, and to also insert DEI elements into the character that Cavill is aimed to play. Now, Reynolds' plan is to turn Cavill into a Wolverine variant, as it turns out, and or Captain Britain toward the third act of the film, as it of course unravels. However, Disney was pushing for Cavill to portray a character that would fall in line with their agenda to lose in a battle against Cassandra Nova, as they did not agree with Reynolds' approach to making him a Wolverine variant from another universe or even Captain Britain. Now, one shocking turn of events is that Henry Cavill did in fact put his foot down and stood up for himself in a recent meeting with Marvel Studios just days ago, while Bob Iger was also involved remotely, and this involved serious creative differences that Cavill had with his character getting killed off by the hands of Cassandra Nova, whether it be Captain Britain, Wolverine, doesn't matter. Cavill also did not agree with Feige's plans for the lines of dialogue that were to be used. Essentially, Disney's plan was to move forward with a far weaker Wolverine that Cavill would portray in order to create a diverse series of Wolverine variants, ones that are stronger and others that are weaker. Cavill's argument was that this would be a mockery to himself as an actor and for the Wolverine character. This was best described as John Krasinski's Mr. Fantastic in the Multiverse of Madness getting completely killed off. As of now, Cavill's cameo's choice, of course, by Disney is not concrete just yet, as they aim to do last-minute reshoots that will involve Cavill's cameo scene in the, of course, third act. However, Cavill gained a victory in this recent meeting and that he convinced Disney to change their ways, since he warned he would actually walk away from this project if things did not go his way for the film. Now, Ryan Reynolds also helped in on this situation to make Cavill into a powerful iteration of Wolverine that will be far different than fans have ever seen before, while also filming an alternate, of course, scene of himself as Captain Britain. This way they can choose later on in post-production. However, Feige is still pushing the idea of turning him into Captain Britain to give him a far more shorter cameo that will be less intense for the third act. Reynolds planned to film Cavill's major scene in as little as 4 to 6 days worth of filming, which gives Disney and Marvel tons of time to figure out how to handle the scene's creation. So guys, let me stop here before I move on. Now, the fact that they want to pretty much dive into filming 2 scenes, one of which being a Wolverine variant, the other of which being a Captain Britain variant or the main character, is interesting. Now, this of course falls in line with how they want to do a test screening of Deadpool and Wolverine with everything all said and done, everything filmed and put together before this thing drops in late July, to see how the reaction is of Cavill's cameo being a Wolverine variant or as Captain Britain. So this is an ongoing situation, but the fact that Disney tried to aim to turn Cavill's cameo, whatever it would have been, into a very weak-driven character that would die by the hands of Cassandra Nova is very much petty, as far as I see things, by Kevin Feige. Is nothing different than what they did with John Krasinski's Mr. Fantastic in the Multiverse of Madness, which I thought was just absolutely crazy. That's just how I saw things, at least. I don't know about you guys, but that scene in particular for Cavill, meeting his demise as a weaker version of Wolverine / Captain Britain against Cassandra Nova, was basically going to be the equivalent of what happened with John Krasinski. Now, Krasinski, of course, in that scenario in Multiverse of Madness. Now, moving onwards, alright, the main reason why Disney decided to provide Cavill a role as a cameo where he wouldn't die or meet his demise by the hands of Cassandra Nova is that Cavill not only warned about exiting Deadpool and Wolverine, but that he also was willing to discuss the drama in the future after the film released on various podcasts and radio shows to clear up what was going on behind closed doors. So basically, Reynolds is leaning toward making him a Wolverine variant. And as you saw with the TVA in the trailer, they are talking about this Wolverine let his entire world, pretty much collapse. And this movie in particular is going to deal with different universes. So for those of you that are uninformed, this movie is another multiverse film, alright? So in case you guys are tired of multiverse aspects, that's fine and all, but this movie is going to be treated in a different fashion where each cameo will have some form of purpose attached to it. Now, the multiverse era, so to speak, for the Marvel Universe is going to stretch for a very long time. We're not done just yet, and Disney wants to keep on doing this. This way they can shoehorn whatever cameos they want to kind of test the waters on what works and what doesn't work. But it's also another tool for Bob Iger and Kevin Feige to really insert race-swapped characters, gender-swapped characters, just for the sake of doing it. That's another reason why they are embracing the multiverse. So overall, I would love to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.